afternoon. Welcome to this webinar from Tholons and Global Services. A very warm good afternoon, good evening, or good morning for some of our attendees. This is Ed Nair, Editor of Global Services. Today's webinar is on showcasing the challenges and opportunities for outsourcing and offshoring in Europe. We'll be taking a very, very close look at the various locations in Europe and what do they present in terms of opportunity, what opportunities exist there, what are the challenges there, and how should both buyers of services as well as service providers, how should they look at these opportunities and what they need to do. This Global Shore 2010 is a series of webinars that we are having in which we are attempting to cover almost all of the major locations, all of the major regions in the world, and this entire series of webinars would be summed up with the path-breaking research from Tholons, which is the top 100 cities research. I have two eminent speakers with me today here, both of them having loads of top-of-the-line experience in advising companies on services globalization, as well as cross-border M&A deals and a variety of activities related to choosing global destinations in the outsourcing industry. The speakers are Avinash Vasishta. He is the chairman and CEO of Tholons, and along with Avinash, we also have Jonathan Luzuriaga. He is the Managing Director Asia for Tholons. So without much ado, I will pass on the presentation to Avinash and Jonathan, who would be bringing us some top-of-the-line research about European destinations. Over to you, Avinash.
Well, thank you, Ed, and thanks for everyone who has joined us today for this webinar. Welcome to this series of Global Show 2010, which is a destinations event that we will showcase the different countries across the globe, and hope to continue this over the course of years. As some of you may know, we have been covering the different emerging cities across the globe over the last 5 years, starting with 2006 being our first issue of the Global Outsourcing Cities Emerging, where we covered 50 cities. In 2007, we essentially identified certain centers of excellence among these global emerging cities. And in 2008 and 9, we actually ranked the cities in terms of 2 categories. One was the emerged cities, which had 8 cities, both in 2008 and 9 as well. And the emerging destinations, for example, Cebu in the Philippines was the #1 emerging city across the globe. And some of the other eminent cities, for example, like Beijing and Shanghai, did not make it to the top of the list, but they were definitely there in the top 10. And in 2009 again, we looked at identifying certain city clusters rather than just the city itself. For example, if you look at Kuala Lumpur, you had the Cyberjaya along with Kuala Lumpur. And for example, when you look at the NCR in Philippines, Manila, you have a significant number of cities as part of that cluster within Manila. Also in India, we have the National Capital Region, similar to the one in Philippines, which has again 3 different states and cities like Delhi, Gurgaon, and Noida out there. In 2010, we again will be taking this, but essentially be introducing the concept of point of scale resistance. So what we have tried to do over the last 5 years is doing quite a bit of research as to what makes a city come up as an attractive destination for clients and what makes it continue and grow with that. We've also seen certain cities that have attracted clients but have fizzled out over the course of the years. And I think the best indicator of that we have found is what we call as the point of scale resistance that we will cover today to some extent in this presentation later on. So again, if you were to come to a slide that is on your screen, page number 4, in terms of the Western Europe. Now, Western Europe has really done a significant amount of nearshoring to the Eastern European countries. Now, the Eastern European countries have become part of the European Union, and the common belief was that the gap between the Western and the Eastern Europe would shrink over time. And as you can see over here on the slide, in fact, it is the opposite. The gap in the per capita GDP between the Eastern and the Western countries has widened. Now, which for some may not be very good, but at least for clients in the Western Europe, I think this is definitely a very attractive opportunity for them to still continue to outsource. Eastern Europe has been a country of choice for outsourcing by the Western Europe for more than a decade, and I think that thing has become stronger as we see over the years. In fact, some of the countries that you see on the list have been prominent nearshore destinations. Poland, again, some of the cities in Poland like Krakow, Warsaw have been extremely popular among clients in terms of outsourcing business process IT work. Czech Republic, both Prague and Brno. Hungary has been an extremely cost-effective option for clients. Budapest. Russia has been a destination for clients when they're looking for technology development, research and development, essentially on the wireless technology, some of the security technology as well. So we have some very, very good companies in Russia that lead that space. Romania, again, has been a good place to look at some of the high-end analytics and business process outsourcing work, combined with Ukraine, Slovakia, Bulgaria, and also going down the list, you see Estonia. So Estonia is probably the #1 favorite country for clients, especially in the Nordic region. If you were to look at outsourcing work from all of the countries within the Western Europe, clients are normally faced with a dilemma because no one country is able to take care of all the languages which are more than, which are in the double digits. But if you combine Estonia, which is able to take care of most of the Nordic languages, and one of the cities that you see in the top 5 on this list, I think you have an excellent solution for outsourcing from Western Europe to Eastern Europe. And if you look at some of the countries, there are a few countries that have a population of over 10 million, and they are definitely the favorite in terms of having a sizable talent pool to outsource to. Europeans in general, as a client base, are much more conservative than the Americans. And I think in that respect, nearshoring has been definitely a plus and a favored option versus offshoring to places like Philippines, China, and India for the Europe. Some of the advantages that these companies offer is definitely the financial attractiveness, and being part of the European Union, I think there are much more favorable trade laws, and cultural compatibility is very, very important in the continental Europe, more so than the UK itself, and also Eastern Europe boasts of an excellent education structure. Some of these Eastern European countries have, because of these advantages that I just listed, have become the nearshore location of choice, and it has become extremely difficult for countries like India, China, and Philippines to attract as much work that they have been able to do from the U.S. than from the Western Union. In fact, what we are seeing recently, and I would say more like the last couple of years, is a trend in general for clients to prefer the work to go to onshore low-cost locations or nearshore locations. And that is true even of the U.S. itself, where U.S. we have seen a growing trend towards getting work to Tier 2 cities within the U.S. itself, and also to some of the near shore locations like Costa Rica, Mexico, Jamaica, Grenada as well. And this is not necessarily because of any language preference, be it Spanish or something. This is work that we have seen clients who have operations in Philippines, for example, and in India on English, still preferring to put some of the work in Costa Rica for English, even at a higher cost. And I think some of this trend is really favoring the trend that has already been continuing in Eastern Europe for quite some time. If you look at the Western Europe, now Western Europe is about 63% of all developed countries. So it is a very, very single largest population of countries in terms of being a developed client base. So there's a lot of business that comes in to Western Europe itself. And for Western Europe, Eastern Europe becomes a very significant and a favored destination to take some of that work to. The cost differential is about 15 to 20% at a minimum. In fact, what clients have told us, and our discussions even with some of the captives in that region, when we have benchmarked those against some of the other offshore destinations, is that the productivity per employee is higher in Eastern Europe for work coming out of Western Europe than for some of the other destinations like India and Philippines and China. So the effective cost, if you were to look at it from a productivity perspective, is actually more than 20% versus the Western European cost. Some of the areas or processes that are in favor to be outsourced from Western Europe are product development. Again, that goes to places like Turkey. It goes to places like Ukraine and Russia predominantly. Then regional multi-language skills. Some of the top 6 or 7 destinations we listed have great skills for all of Western Europe. And then you have the Estonia for the Nordic languages. Again, R&D is something that we see across the region, more so in Russia. So I will basically hand it over to Jonathan to cover some of the highlights from the Top 100 Imaging Cities 2010.
Thank you very much, Avi, and thank you, Ed. After hearing Avinash discuss about the regional outsourcing dynamics in Europe, I would now like to present the centers of excellence in Europe that form part of the Top 100 Emerging Cities. The Center of Excellence concept was first presented by Tholons in 2006, a time when the answer to the question, where to outsource, became more than just focusing on the country. With the evolution of these countries as locations, it is now focused more on specific cities rather than countries as a whole. In the case of the Top 100 study, a city location refers to a center of excellence that would provide a significant advantage over other locations in terms of certain process, or in the case of Dublin, St. Petersburg, and for other cities, multiple processes. Before we identify the centers of excellence in this region, let's first go through the cities that made it to the Top 100 list for 2007 to 2009. The European cities in the Top 100 are spread across 11 countries, 19 cities altogether, 5 from Western Europe and 14 from Eastern Europe. From Ireland, we have Cork and Dublin, being dubbed or considered as an emerged or mature location for outsourcing since 2007. For the United Kingdom, we have Belfast, Glasgow, and the city